Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tara M. Clapper, and I am with LARPed.com and the Geek Initiative. And today I have the privilege of interviewing Faye and Maiko from Worthwich School of Wizardry, which is happening on the first weekend of November. And it is a wizarding weekend, a magical retreat. And I'm really excited to kind of dive in and find out exactly what that means and what the experience is like. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here, both of you. And please, I'd love to kind of hear the general pitch for your experience and, what could somebody expect?
Yeah, thank you for having us. So I'm Maiko, just in case. Worthwich is a school of wizardry, as you said. It is also what we call the home for misfit wizards, because it's for those who maybe never got their letter or found their magic later in life, or you just don't quite fit in. So we have this event called Worthwich Wizarding Weekend, and it's a 3-day retreat for adults where you actually get to attend this school and you take all the classes, you take flying lessons, there is a Quidditch team, well, there's 4 because there's a whole Quidditch tournament, the whole shenanigans of going to a school of magic. You also get sorted into your house, but it's unique. It has its unique history, its unique houses and founders, and types of magic as well.
Excellent. And I'd love to know a bit about your background in designing and running events.
Sure. So I think we come from a unique background. Well, I don't know if it's that unique, but it feels unique to me. That is, we started doing this out of a passion for magic. We were fans of different universes. I have always, since I was a kid, had this idea or goal. What I wanted to do with my life is make people believe in magic and show them that it's real, and in a cheesy way, but also, there is something out there. So it really started as a group of friends, all the geeky, nerdy, very passionate people, and we just wanted to share one of our passions with other people. So our experience really came from starting doing this, and now we are in our 5th year. Faye has more experience than me as far as event organizing, so maybe she wants to answer this one.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it, Faye.
Yeah, so our backgrounds of event production were pretty organic. I started off, the very first event I ever produced was a lesbian prom for the LGBT community. And that started off as an idea, something that was suggested by the community itself. So from there, it's kind of snowballed into a number of other events, but they all have kind of a central theme, and Worthwich definitely fits in with that theme as well, of inclusion and creating safe spaces for self-expression. That's something that I'm really passionate about, and something I've aimed to create with every event that I put my name on. From the Les Prom events to even trivia nights, and certainly Worthwich Wizarding Weekend is designed to be a safe space for nerds, for geeks, for anyone who's ever had a passion about something that they don't always feel safe expressing or sharing with the world. And that's certainly what Wizarding Weekend was born out of. Worthwich itself actually grew out of the first class that we offered, which was Worthwich wand making. And Maiko actually created a lot of wands just for herself. She wanted, you can buy wands that are for different characters, but she wanted a wand that was actually hers, that would represent her personality, and a wand that she felt like she could really bond with. So she actually got her own wood, collected her own wood, came up with some techniques to create her own wand from scratch. And she showed these to me, and I'm like, these are beautiful. These are awesome. Would you consider making these personalized wands for other people? And she was like, I don't think it's something I could do for somebody else, because it's a very personalized thing, and you have to create this kind of tool that's going to work for you. it needs to be something that that really connects to you. So out of that sprang the idea for a Worthwich wand making class. And we started doing those classes in the summer of 2016. They were really popular. And the people who attended the classes were really into it. They were really passionate about the world and wanting more and more. And they asked us, like, what else do you have? Like, what else can we attend that you guys are doing? And we're like, how about a school of magic? and then Worthwich Wizarding Weekend was born about 5 months after that.
And how many years ago was that?
We hosted the first Worthwich Wizarding Weekend in 2016. It was the last weekend in October. We've since changed it to the first weekend in November. But yeah, so we're going into our fifth event run this year. It was supposed to happen last year, but of course, the world ended. So
yes, well, we appreciate the attention to safety and not, running during the height of the pandemic. And the event's located in Texas, is that right?
Yes, Texas. It's about an hour north of Austin, 2 hours from Dallas. So it's driving distance from all the Texas cities. And then we have a lot of students that come from out of state every year. So we actually have a free airport shuttle.
Wonderful. I'm excited. It's going to be my first time ever in Texas. So I'm excited that this will be my experience in Texas.
Oh, it's going to be a very different Texas experience than what it would be otherwise.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I want to get a couple of practical details out of the way, and then I really want to hear specifically what the experience is like, kind of going through it. But just to get some details out of the way so people know what to expect, what is the ticket cost and how can people get a ticket?
So our tickets are regularly $400. It's all inclusive, so your lodging, meals, all the classes and all the materials that you'll need are included in that. You can find them on our website, that it's worthwich.com/tickets. Pretty simple to remember. This year, however, going back to the pandemic and just like craziness, we thought it was really important to offer people an escape, a way to just get out of your house, see some people, do something. So we are doing tickets a little bit different just for 2021. And it's on a sliding scale. So it's pay what you can with a minimum of 300. It's on the same page.
Fantastic. I think the community will really appreciate that. And speaking of the community, I know you had told me before, you have some people that, regularly come to your events, but it's a little different than some of the events that our audience, which are mainly LARPers, live action role players, might have attended. Faye, could you tell us a bit about what your event is like and how it would be different from somebody who's used to just rolling in character and just kind of taking over a story?
Sure. So one of the major differences I'd say between what you'll experience at Wizarding Weekend versus what you might experience at some of the other wizard schools is that there aren't any predetermined storylines. So you're not going to come in and be told that this is your character and this is what's going to happen in the end and this is exactly how you have to react to all the different situations. So in that way, Worthwich is really designed to be a very organic experience. And that's because the people who attend this event, what they're looking for is to have been accepted into a school of magic. That's the dream, right? Mm-hmm. So in that sense, you can attend as yourself. If your dream is that you, as whatever your name is, was accepted into a school of magic, then you can be your storyline. But if you have this alternative persona, you love the name Luna or whatever other name and background you imagine yourself in the world, you can be that as well. So people who have a character and have put a lot of work into that can absolutely bring that into the world, and we'd love to have that. But for those students and attendees who their dream is that they, as an individual, were accepted to magic school, they can have that be their story and their journey at Worthwich as well. Another major difference between us and some of the other events is that Worthwich is a multi-year experience. So you can actually attend up to 5 years and have progressive content each year. So you start as what we call a first-year student, But we have students attending now who've come back for 5 years, who are in their 5th year currently with us. And you take different classes each year. The content is progressive, so you build on the knowledge and the skills that you've learned, and you basically get deeper and deeper into the magical world. Starting in their 3rd year, students can actually declare what we call mastery tracks, which is basically like your major. So it's focusing on one subject and delving more deeply into that subject and learning more about the complexities of magic within that art.
That sounds fantastic. Maiko, how does it work if you want to, let's say, cast a spell in a class during the event? How do you represent that magic? How does that work?
Well, that is a great question, actually, because it builds on what Faye was saying about this being a progressive story. So as first years, I think it would be very responsible for us as professors to let you just run around with this weapon, throwing spells at people. So we try to restrict that, and your first year, you learn how to create your spells and what the parts of that is, like your incantation, your intention, your wand motion. But to be honest, in your first year, you'll learn how to do that, and then there's a dueling class where you'll get to use them in a controlled environment. But other than that, it's not heavily based on walking around waving your wand, because we consider that risky behavior for someone that is just starting their magical education. After that, it depends on which classes you take, you start building on that. Now, practically, if you're asking, like, is there a magical light that shoots out or a ball that you throw to represent that spell? No, we treat it as it would normally happen. So it's about reacting to what's happening to you. And if you cast something with the intention and the proper way, you'll see the reaction on your target.
Wonderful.
But of course, if your intention wasn't there, then what you wanted to happen might not happen because you weren't strong enough in it. But yeah, safety is number one at Worthwich, and there's been some incidents in the past. We might have gotten a few citations from the magical councils. So there are certain types of magic that need to be controlled, especially in the first couple of years for the students.
I got into a duel with our defensive magic professor at some point. I almost got killed, so all dueling got banned.
This sounds like such a fun story. Oh, I love it already. I'm not even there, and I love it already. So when you go as a first year, is the house sorting a big part of the experience? And if so, what are the different houses like?
So there are 4 houses at Worthwich. They are based on the regions of the world, because Worthwich was created or founded over the years. It used to be a traveling school, and it got its shape, or it got to be the way it is right now by being influenced by different cultures and by different people that eventually found their home at Worthwich. And the houses represent that. So we have the house Colantes, that is representative of the oceans. We have the house Sakurai, that's a combination of sakura, the cherry blossom, and samurai, so that is an Asian house. We have Saraka, that represents the African region. And finally, we have Wyverno, that is representative of the Americas.
Fantastic.
As far as who gets sorted into a house, it works a little bit different, especially for people that might be transfer students from Hogwarts, for example. You'll notice that our sorting is a little bit different, because there really aren't just 4 personalities of people in the world. So that would be very hard to accomplish. And the way we do it, I can't tell you how we do it, because then people would be extra prepared. But there is a small challenge that happens at the beginning for first-year students. And our sorting thing will put you in the house that needs you the most. So whatever you're bringing to the school, it will balance the houses out.
Wonderful. Now, Faye, if I get sorted into one of the houses and I've attended this event with a real life friend, because as we're talking, I've realized one of my friends who actually lives in Texas has to come to this with me. She just love it. So let's say she and I get sorted into different houses, but we still want to interact over the weekend or, have meals together. Oh my gosh, I love your dog. Is that still possible for us to do, or are we on like a very rigid schedule?
Sure. So students, after they enroll, they receive a survey, basically like a little questionnaire that helps us kind of better accommodate you at the event. If you're coming with somebody else and you would prefer to be sorted together, you have the option to make that your preference, and we will try to convince the powers that be. Now, there are no guarantees. And then, of course, if you would rather be in separate houses, that can be, again, we can try to influence the fates and whatnot. But basically, the first year students are usually divided into about 2 groups. So during each class, you'll be with one other house. So you would have some classes together. You wouldn't have all the classes together, and then meals are shared with the 4 houses. Now, because Worthwich has grown over the years, we have 2 meal times now, but it's fairly likely that you'd be on the same meal time. And then every evening we have socials, all the houses, all the students come together to hang out. So you would definitely be seeing a friend that's in another house throughout the day. You wouldn't necessarily have every single class together, but if you prefer to be sorted together, we can try to help you make that happen.
Awesome.
Actually, I feel like that is something that we can reveal. It is pretty easy for us to, if you wanted to be together, the only thing that needs to happen is that you need to take that challenge together, so that the sorting can consider both of you as a team as opposed to individually. And that's kind of how we can sort groups together if you decide to do that. But it might, we have never had this, but it might be pretty fun to have someone there to clash with.
I was just thinking that. I can't wait to talk to my friend as soon as I'm done and maybe make a little bit of a plot with her and convince her to sign up, because that would be so fun to go through that experience together. And the other thing I noticed is you mentioned some people go through this experience as themselves. Some of them make a persona or even a character themselves. What do most people do? How do most people choose to participate on the weekend?
Sorry, you can go.
Yeah, so I would say the majority of attendees, at least for their first year, and this is the really interesting thing, the majority of attendees in their first year are going to sign up and at the sorting be wanting to be called by their natural name. But what is really fascinating is that we have a lot of students that come back every year. We have a very high retention rate, and a lot of students starting in their second and third year, I think it's because they realize that it's just very comfortable, very acceptable, accepted to basically express themselves however they want. A lot of them will then choose to have a magical name. And kind of expand their backstory starting in their second and third year, which I think is really awesome to see people just really lean into their magic and their expression and feel that kind of freedom that they might not have felt their first year. They're being a little bit more cautious, expressing how they want to be. You also see it with outfits people wear in the later years. Sometimes people come the first year and they're wearing their t-shirts and whatever else they wanted to feel comfortable in. And then the next year you'll see them and they are decked out with their 1 hat per day and all their accessories, and it's really fun to see people really lean into their expression and feel that comfort that the community of the event creates.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Maiko.
Oh, I just got something to add, is that it is a little hard for us to tell if someone is coming as a character or not, because we don't ask that question. All we ask is what name you want to use. And once you get there, we'll use that name and you can act however you want. So, I mean, it is very possible that we have had some people representing themselves as someone else. We wouldn't notice, I guess.
And that's cool.
A real testament to Worthwich. We take what's presented at face value. If you tell us this is your name and this is where you came from and you transferred here and you have this experience, that's how we see you. That's who you are. And that's really a major part of Worthwich.
That's fantastic. I've done some wizard school type experiences, and I've seen people use characters to really discover facets of their identity, explore gender, all sorts of stuff. And it's really wonderful to see people kind of blossom into who they actually are. They're not actually changing. They're just sort of learning who they are and sharing that with the world in a way that you know, in an environment that accepts them. It's so neat that you can just, that you're so accepting that you can just, you know, take what people send you as, okay, great, that's your name, we're gonna roll with that. And that's really exciting. I feel like I have some decisions to make, because I'm used to showing up to these kinds of things as a LARPer, but I'm actually also a pagan in real life, and spirituality is really important to me. And the majority of what I do isn't like, you know, casting spells and making circles and lighting candles. It's actually more the shadow self look at who I am. And, you know, I feel like the most empowering spiritual thing that you can do is to be true to yourself and express who you are and help other people do that. So I feel like I really have a decision. Do I want to jump into it on that end and just go this self-discovery route, or do I want to play a facet of who I am as a character, which is often what I do when I'm LARPing. So it's really, really neat that, you know, that you can accept both. And I feel like this is really good for people who want to get into these types of events, but are nervous about an intimidating character sheet or something. They can just come as they are and, you know, be accepted.
Exactly. And something to add here is that it's also okay to change later on. Like we never enforce like, well, you said this is your first year, so now you're stuck. Like there can be an evolution in your character, or even like all of a sudden you have a different name. It has happened. So there's definitely not a rigid structure as far as that goes. And you were also mentioning that you have attended other School of Magic experiences. Well, we also have what we call transfer students. So if you wanted to bring part of what you have had from those experiences and make it part of how you interact in this universe, that is also something that we would absolutely be like, well, now we have an exchange student here, or a transfer student from wherever you come from. And yeah, we'll just roll with whatever you throw at us.
Yeah, it's a really good point to mention that within Worthwich, we believe in the magical multiverse. So we don't really consider ourselves to be in a different plane than all the other schools of magic. We believe that they're all existing at the same time. Our semester takes place. There's other magical semesters that take place, and there's many different forms of magic, many different paths and ways that people learn about magic. Some of those ways are through fandom. Some of those ways are through other universes. And at Worthwich, we believe all those types of magics and ways of discovering or finding your path to magic are valid, and we acknowledge all of them can exist in the same plane.
Excellent. That sounds so open to people with any level of experience, or somebody just starting that, you know, wants to give it a try, who maybe isn't comfortable, you know, taking on a whole persona, and they just want to give it a try. That's great. It's like for everybody. I have a couple more practical questions that people commonly ask about these types of events. You mentioned that your meals are included. What else is included in the events, and what do people need to bring with them?
So we include all your meals, starting dinner on Friday, and it ends dinner on Sunday. So 7 full all-you-can-eat meals, drinks as well. We do also have alcohol provided. That we only provide that at nights during our nightly socials. But we are also open to BYO potions and plants. You probably have to share though. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, I don't know, you will be a very unpopular classmate. Also, basically everything that you'll need during the events, except for your personal belongings, so your clothes and your toiletries is included. So drinks, food, lodging, all the class supplies that we'll require from you. The only extra thing, but it's optional, is the uniform. So we do have robes, and they are in the color of your house. And we also have our Quidditch jersey for those who are well, you don't have to be in the team, but you can still wear it. I'm actually wearing mine right now. So it's... Oh,
that's so cool. I love
it. And then it's available on the school store, like either when you get there or beforehand. But that is, yeah, I think, Faye, do you have something else?
Yeah, just that we do send out a complete list of all the required and recommended school supplies to all the enrolled students. We usually send that a little bit later as the semester's approaching, so students don't lose it in their Yowlery until then. So usually about like a month or 2 months before, we'll send out kind of the required and recommended school supplies. So for example, students do have to provide their own bedding. The accommodations don't have like bedding, so you can do like a sleeping bag or sheets or whatever you want. Some students in their later years pick out bedding that matches their house colors as well. There's a lot of really strong house pride. It's pretty epic. But you'll receive a full list of required and recommended school supplies. Trunks are definitely recommended to bring as well. And yeah, so you'll receive all that information as an enrolled student about a month or two prior to the start of semester, start of term.
One more thing that I forgot that it's also included is the airport shuttle that we mentioned at the beginning. So if you're coming from out of time, you get a free ride to and from the event. And if you're not, if you're driving, also free parking is included. And lastly, like things that you can bring, again, we do have a strict policy on familiars and animals that you can bring. But other than that, like if you want to bring your own broomstick or staff or whatever, by all means.
I love it. This sounds so fun. I'm excited.
One more thing that we forgot to mention is included is your wand. You make it on Friday and you get to take that home with you. A lot of the other classes include other items that you'll make and get to take home as well. So there's lots of fun magical take homes in the different classes. But your wand is one that you get to create and bring that home if you don't have to pay separate for that or anything. That's
great. I'm still looking forward to this. And it does seem like we are finally getting a handle on COVID. And so I'm feeling really confident about being there this year. But just in case things go south again with COVID, what is the plan? Is there like a postponement policy or anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. We are also feeling pretty confident. That's why we decided to start launching tickets. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. But just in case, if the event gets canceled or even if it gets rescheduled, everyone will get the option, I guess, to roll over your ticket to the next event. Or if you, for whatever reason, no questions asked, don't want to do that, you'll receive a full refund.
Excellent. That is great. And we talked about, health and safety a little bit. That, of course, is a really appreciated health and safety measure. In terms of the event itself, what kind of safety rules and guidelines do you have in place?
Yeah. So the main thing, well, I guess the bulk of everything will get covered on Friday. It's actually the very first thing that happens is after you check in, all the first year students meet with the headmaster. So in this case, it's me. And we will have a talk about the rules and conduct expected from everyone. So we'll cover like the more detailed aspects of it then. And then again, we do it in person because, as you noticed, we do have a lot of people that might be beginner LARPers, or maybe they don't even consider themselves LARPers. So we like doing that in person, so it's really clear. We go through a couple of examples and make sure that everyone verbally agrees and consents to the rules. But other than that, the way the event itself is set up, it has a lot of, let's say, checks and balances. So there's three main things. One is that we always name a prefect for each house, and that is a student that has been selected for this specific role. This student will be in your same dorm and taking classes with you, so they're kind of like keeping an eye on things. And if you as a student have any problem, you can find this person to kind of help you, guide you through the universe. We also have heads of house. This is a professor that has been assigned to your specific house just to kind of help making smaller groups so that we can talk to everyone. So same thing, if you have any issues or problems or comments, whatever, you can find this person more easily. Then it's your professor. And finally, well, the whole event is centered around the classes and the schedule itself, what means that you'll always be with a professor. So it's very free form in a way, but it's also guided.
You've got that structure kind of built in, and there's always someone around you can ask. Yeah, that's great. And What is the venue itself like? I'd love to learn more about it. Is it like a campsite? Is it like a hotel, a castle? What kind of feel does it have?
Yeah, our venue is, you'll get the full Texas experience. So it is located in what used to be a ranch.
Oh, wow.
So one thing that I'll say is that it's big. So you'll get your steps in during the weekend. Definitely, it is built to be very accessible. So there's paved ways, there's ramps, there's accessible showers, everything, but it is big. So definitely something to consider. And then the other thing is that at Worthwich, we believe that magic comes from connection to other people, from connection to nature. So we don't kind of like shelter ourselves in a dark castle. We are out there with nature. There's some classes that are inside. There are some classes that are outside, depending on what the subject is about. So yeah, I think you should expect to have some outdoor time.
Excellent.
Another great thing about our venue is that it's pretty remote. So your cell phone's not going to work, which really also just helps you kind of get into the mindset of you're in a different place, in a different, in a different world. So you can really disconnect. It's got beautiful nighttime views. There's no light pollution. And it's got its own kind of charm for sure.
Oh yeah, the nighttime skies are something to witness.
I cannot wait. Like this is like the best first time in Texas experience, and I'm really looking forward to it. So in terms of who might be a good fit for your experience, is there a certain type of person that does really well, or a certain type of person that struggles, and what kind of participants are you looking for who would make a good fit?
Oh, that is a great question. I think this is a good place to talk about why we don't call ourselves a LARP, even though we kind of are, because it will explain who it's for. So the main thing that I would say is that we don't necessarily call our Worthwich a LARP because the classes, the content that you're being taught, it's based on real practices. So all the content derives from tradition, from different practices around the world. You mentioned that you are also a practitioner, so you'll see that we pull a lot from all this content that is out there. So because of that, we don't necessarily call it a LARP, and we have a lot of people that come here and then decide to continue on their path, like in between semesters, so during the year, or on their own. And you'll notice that all the information you can find it, and you can keep progressing as far as that goes. But that said, you don't have to. You can just come, take the content as it is, enjoy your time there, and then drop it. So it's kind of for both. The one thing that is different, I guess, or we're in between being a full LARP and a weekend school, is that we do believe that all magic is valid. So wherever you're coming from, if you maybe are a fan, like you're a Harry Potter fan, you're a Game of Thrones fan, you're a Lord of the Rings fan, there's a lot of magic in there. And not because it was written in a book, it makes it less valid than a different kind of magic. So we accept all of that. And actually, through the classes and through talking to people from different backgrounds, we have found that it actually all connects. It's all pretty much the same thing. And we like bringing that out and seeing how people explore and ultimately find their own magic. So what did you end up believing in? What works for you? And that can be any kind of person. It can be a role player that you just created a character and came to have fun, and all of a sudden you discovered something, or maybe you learned something that you can use in a different character later on. You can be someone that wants to get into witchcraft, but there are so many paths that you don't even know where to start. All this will give you a little bit of an idea of what everything is. You can be a fan that has just had the dream of going to a school of wizardry since you were 11. So it's a long answer, but I would really say it's for everyone. As long as you're open-minded and accept that magic can come from anywhere and that everyone has their own magic, I think that would be the only person that I would say it would not be a good fit for you. If you're like, no, this is the real thing and this is not, then you're going to have a hard time.
Excellent. And Faye, I just turned 40. Am I too old for wizard school?
No, absolutely not. We had one of our first years last year celebrating, I believe it was her 60th birthday at the event. So we have one of the things I love about Worthwich is that it's such a diverse group of attendees, and it's really beautiful to see. You definitely don't have to be in your 20s or 30s to attend this event. We have quite a few students who are 50 plus from all backgrounds. We have fans, we have people who practice magic all throughout the year, people who do like to do different role plays, lots of D&D players. And so it's really a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different kinds of people.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you both for your time and ask you if there's anything else that you want to add or anything that you would like people to know before we sign off.
I do have a quick one. If someone wants to get more information or especially connect with the community, as we said, we have a lot of people that come back and keep coming for at least 5 years. We don't actually. This was student organized. Our students have a Facebook group called the Worthwich Student Lounge. Anyone's welcome to join. You can ask questions. You can see what they post about. They get together throughout the year, organize their own little things, end up becoming friends. So that's a pretty good resource if you just want to kind of get a feeling for who you would be with if you attend these events.
Yeah, and I would say that is the only thing I think we didn't really mention very much is the fact that Worthwich is a multi-year experience. I think is something that is quite a bit different than what maybe some of the other wizard schools are offering. And everything, what you'll notice when you attend Worthwich is that everything within the event itself, within our semester, is designed to be really authentic. So everything we do, the paths that you take, the steps you take, are all presented exactly as you would be if you were attending a school of magic, because frankly you are. And in that, you don't attend a school of magic for 1 year, for 3 days. You attend multiple years because there's certain content that you're not allowed to see earlier on, that you're not ready for. And Worthwich is very much treated that way. So in their first 2 years, students take what we call our core curriculum. So you get a sampling of all the classes. It's a very beginner level introduction to a variety of magical arts. And then starting in their 3rd year, students can actually declare a mastery track, and they can focus more on the subjects that interest them most. One other thing that's very unique about Worthwich and the type of magic we teach, as Maiko mentioned, there are a bunch of different paths within the worlds of magic and witchcraft and Wicca. And at Worthwich, we don't focus on a specific tradition. We don't involve any deities or any kind of path-specific information. And that's because our ultimate goal is to allow people to discover their own magic, whatever magic means to you, whatever your specialty is, wherever you believe magic comes from. And you can fully explore that at Worthwich, whether magic comes from nature, whether it's the water element, whether it's ancient runes. You can explore whatever magic means to you in depth and really find your own path and your own unique style of magic at the semester. And that's why there's also the 5 years, is because you can't do that in 1 year. You don't even necessarily know yourself fully as a magical person within the 1 semester. So you can really grow and deepen within your magical practice, within your character. And at Worthwich, you really get out of the experience and the event what you put into it. So people do come for a lot of different reasons. For many people, it's a weekend escape from everyday reality. For others, it's an exploration of their spirituality, of their magic. For everyone, it's about empowerment. It's about feeling free to be yourself and just finding a place in a community where people are going to accept you no matter what you present yourself as, no matter whether you're presenting yourself differently from year to year. And yeah, discovering your own unique style of magic is really what Worthwich is all about.
That is so lovely. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I am even more excited to attend than I was when we started this conversation because, you know, as a LARPer, I'm just so used to getting this like big character sheet and making like goals specific to that. And now through the course of our conversation, I'm like, I think I want to do something different and have kind of like an exploration of spirituality with a couple, close friends. I think that would be really, really neat. And I can't imagine being able to do that to this degree at any other experience. So I can't wait to go. I can't wait to check it out. I can't wait to meet you and see Texas. And thank you so much for your time and for being here. Maiko, can you give everyone the website again so they know where to sign up?
Yes, our website is worthwich.com. So worth, like you're worth it, and then witch, just without the T. Worthwich.com, and then if you are looking for the tickets, it's just /tickets.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, and I will see you at the end of the year.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
We'll see you for start of term. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thanks.